Look at that. I've been waiting to do this video for a little bit now, but I wanted to make sure the conditions were right before I started. So here we go. You're looking at a Pilot RC Extra 330 SC 92 inches. So this is a discontinued model now. They've actually moved on. Actually, the plane is bigger, but I picked this up back in June when I knew I wasn't going to get my Hangar 9 Cub, and it was a really good excuse to start working around here in the garage. This wall, I just finished drywalling and everything. I probably want to paint, but it gave me a chance to organize and do things. I mean, look at the size of this thing. So I knew I wanted my benches to be set up and everything, but I laughed at the fact that this plane is so long that after I modified the bench, I had to come back and build a little stand behind here for this guy. But now everything is secure and locked down. But look at this thing, 92-inch wingspan. I don't think you really understand just until you actually get your hands on one of these, just how massive this aircraft is. So with this size of aircraft, there came a few considerations, and you can see one of them is that's how I store it. I'll throw some pictures up of how it looks stored, but essentially the wings go into the wing bag here and hang off that hook, and this carbon fiber rod goes in through the spar location, and the airplane just rests there. So it actually balances on its CG and everything and just hangs there. So it's a really nice spot. I'll throw some photos in there, you get an idea, but I mean, look at this thing. So it's a nice plane. I've been playing with it. I've been making some minor changes, and I really look forward to the opportunity when I get to fire it up. So I've changed the battery packs in there. It came with some ion batteries, and one of them was like dated from like 2004. So 3 battery packs in total. I've replaced them with Spectrum LIFEs or live packs, 2 3000s for the receiver pack, and 1 2200 to run the ignition system. And I'll go through the onboards here in a minute. And then I swapped out the wooden prop for a Falcon 24x10 carbon fiber blade. Let's see if I can throw this thing over here without making myself look silly, but you know, so compression. And I'll be doing that gloves when I do it for real. I've only run it once, and I haven't had the opportunity to go yet and run it up a second time because the batteries ran out on the remote and everything. But if you listen to the podcast, I talk about the whole story. But it's got an EME 60 motor in there, big 60cc single, running it on 91 octane with Redline 2-stroke oil. It's got a canister, a full canister, so it's relatively quiet. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that's okay. And it's just big. Lots of servos. I'm running a Spectrum 9-channel receiver in it. Let's see if I can get the canopy off, and we'll fire up the radio, and I can give you a demonstration of some of the stuff. But don't want to break anything. But look inside. So I pulled off a ton of like 400 grams worth of lead weight off the front firewall, and the idea balanced is basically it will balance on its CG with empty fuel. So I've almost got an empty tank. I haven't replenished any of this fuel yet, and the idea is as your gas is burning off, you're not going tail heavy, so you want to be neutral. Where are those CG marks? There, here on the wing, and obviously right there. And so the last time I lifted it, it felt pretty well neutral with almost an empty tank, which is good. I will reconfirm that all before I go flying. But looking at all the systems, the 2 3000 packs, they feed into a smart fly. This is this guy here, which takes the 2 battery packs and outputs the 2, and I'm running a 9-channel Spectrum receiver with dual satellites, and so that converts the power down from 6.6 down to 5 volts. So really the only point of failure really in that system is the receiver, unfortunately, but hopefully that never happens. I did go and extend all the battery packs because they are balance based. So I put out balance tabs, and then ESC to XT60, and then I modified my charge pack. So this charger will stay here in the garage and live for charging these airplanes up. So this is the ignition control, and then obviously that's on the remote. Fuel input, and over here, this bind plug is what turns on and off the receiver pack. So if I fire up the DX9, and that's all set, pull the pin. There it is, active. So, all right, hold on here. So ignition, and then ignition on with the remote.
Ignition on, ignition off, ignition on, ignition off.
So I have ways to kill it, and then I have my choke switch. Here, let's see if I can get this in here so you can see it. So there's my choke open, choke closed, my throttle, and then all the other stuff. You can see the RPM gauge. That sits a little far forward. If I move it back, I might actually be able to see it through the canopy, but that's no big deal. These are max throws. There's my high rates. So it's pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. I'm gonna put this back in there because those are noisy servos. There you go. Turn the radio off. But there we go. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is just a monster-sized aircraft. But I'm super excited to get flying with it. So, like I said, I've only run it up once, and I'm going to do that very soon again once the weather is cooperative and everything, and I'm in the mood to go outside and fire away with it. Like I said, glove will be on when I do that because this prop is pretty slippery, and I'm not in the mood to whack my knuckles on it or anything like that. To get it in the car, I do have to take it all apart and even storing it. So the wings come off, they go into the wing bag. The elevator section comes off. And what really clinched me on the deal when I did buy it was there's a pin up here and you take off a bunch of accessories on the bottom through the landing gear and everything. And the whole rudder section comes off. So it shortens it down and it just fits in the car. I think long term, you're going to see me with a bigger car or a dedicated trailer to make this work. But I'm super thrilled to have been able to actually get my hands on this thing at a reasonable price and just step into this next realm. I have no idea if I'm any good at 3D flying. It's not even really a priority. I'm interested in acrobatic flying, and if it turns out to be something that I'm not interested in, well, I've got all this hardware and I can easily swap out the fuselage for something else. So, but I think it's going to be fun. I think this airplane is gonna fit right in there. I've got the biplane, I've got the Cub. The Cub's going to sit over there with a very similar setup very soon. Well, whenever that thing comes home. But I'm looking forward to this experience. It's something different. It's going to be a challenge. I think it's going to be a challenge for me as a pilot to learn some of these skills and get better at flying 3D and acrobatic, inverted, doing Harriers and hovering and so forth. So I think it's going to be an interesting challenge from that standpoint. So there we go. Quick little overview of this airplane. Stay tuned as I progress through and we get it up in the air and have a little bit of fun. That will be happening very soon. I really want to push myself and make sure this thing goes right away. So I'm Andre. This is a Pilot RC Extra 330 SC 92 inch. Thanks for watching.